Welcome back to the channel, guys. So glad to have you here. Like always, as you can see, the aviary is finally finished on the outside. The walls are up, and some of you are going to be a little bit mad at me because unfortunately I did not record any of the progress or any of that work that we did putting these walls up. And unfortunately it was because not only was I so backed up with this build and I'm such in a hurry to try to get all of this done, but the days when we decided to get these walls up, it was extremely muggy, it was raining, it was horrible working conditions just to be able to record while we did this. So I decided, you know what, I would just show you the end effect, and this is it. This is what it looks like with the walls up. I'm sorry again for those of you that would have loved to see the progress of these walls being put up and the windows put in place. But unfortunately, it was very complicated during that time to try to get any of this up. In today's video, what we're going to be focusing on is getting some of the cages in here. I'm so excited that this is finally closed up and that we can start to get the cages inside of this aviary. As you can see, we still have to kind of cover that up right there with the 2x4s and the lights behind it. And then the best part about this room is all the light, all this natural light that we get inside. And I have the perfect view of the outdoor aviary from this window right here. So I love it, guys. Let's get to cleaning this new bird room, get it nice and clean because the floors are super dirty. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what these cages look like. These are going to be the new cages that I plan on building. We got to assemble each and every single one of these boxes. There's 13 boxes, 4 cages per box, and they're going to go dead center right here. So it's going to run right through the center of the aviary. So let's have a seat and let's start unboxing them so I can show you guys a little bit better what these cages look like. So pretty much these cages, I had to make a trip down to Miami to go pick them up from a gentleman by the name of Omar. And Omar is the only person that I know of that is bringing this specific style of cage. And these cages come from China, so it did take quite a bit of time to get them in. And from what I've heard, the whole entire shipment that he brought sold pretty quickly. Now, per cage, I ended up paying around, I believe, it was a couple months back, so I'm not 100% sure. I think it was about $35 per cage. It eventually did go back up from 35 because unfortunately a lot of brokers buy from him. They go to sell them at the pet shops and then they return them at a higher price. As you would expect, they want to make a profit off of it. So I ended up having to buy a spare box here in Tampa because I came up short. And the box that I bought from a local pet shop ended up being at $50 per cage. So it was a dramatic difference in price from the trip that I made to Miami to pick them up at $35 a cage to when I had to buy them from a broker here who is reselling them at $50 a cage. So as you can see, these cages are going extremely hot right now. They're very expensive. But one of the things that I like about these cages is the amount of spots that it has for the nest. Not only do you have the normal nest entrance on the sides, which let's face it, nobody uses those because we like to put these cages one next to another. These cages also have the nest entrance through the front, which makes it very practical because, like I said, no one likes to use the little side entrance for the nest because if you put a nest on the side, it's going to take up a lot of space from cage to cage. So this front part is the best part to put a nest in. And it is one of the reasons why I decided to go with these cages. They're also a little bit longer than the traditional canary style cage with the divider in the middle. Each section measures close to 15 inches. So normally a canary style cage is about 24 inches long completely. And these are about 30 inches long. I think between 28 to 30. I have to measure them exactly to know how much, but they're much longer than the original cage. So one of the things that I ended up doing was I made a base for every single one of these cages because I want them to be on top of this base. That way I can move it back and forth. Since they're going to be in the center of the aviary, I want to make sure that while I work on the left wall or while I work on the right wall, I am able to kind of move them if they're in the way. And while I'm getting these set up, I have the AC guy working on the mini split, which he is getting that connected to make sure that this beautiful bird room is, of course, climate controlled. That's one of the things that I really wanted to make sure I had with this aviary. As long as I can climate control the room and I can keep it at specific temperatures, my breeding season will be a whole lot better. Now, one of the things that I'm doing with these cages is that I am zip tying them one to another. And the reason why I'm zip tying them is because I want to make sure that they don't slide or tip over when they are on top of each other. And the best way of doing this, of course, is to zip tie each cage to the one that's next to it and to the one that's below. That way the whole entire setup will be that much more stronger, and you won't have any problems with the cages tipping over if you've accidentally bumped into them. All right guys, as you can see, all the wall mounts and lighting behind the wall is completely done. This side, which is the side that I needed to finish, as you can see, it's already finished. I have all of the electrical already done as well. And the mini split unit for the AC is up there. The stand for all of these cages is done with wheels so that I can roll these cages here in the center as best as I can. But I want to try to keep them dead center because over here there's going to be a roll of lights through this hallway, and then there's going to be a roll of lights in the ceiling up here through this hallway as well. And then this is going to be all full of cages, and this side will also be full of cages. As you can see, we're pretty much done. Now all we have to do is start putting birds in here. But before we start to put some birds in here, what I need to get done is I need to cover this here with a painter's tarp. And it's gonna be this clear, like white, milky style tarp. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna hide these beams so that you can't really see them that well. It's also gonna cover the lights so that the birds, as they fly back and forth within the cage, if they decide to poop, it's not gonna land on the lights, it's not gonna land on the wall back here, and it's just gonna overall give it a clear finish to it. So that is gonna be the next project. Let's get to it, try to finish this up because we're running late this season and we need to pair up the birds as quick as possible. All right, so this is what it's gonna look like once we get that painter's tarp on it. As you can see, it has that milky color. It's gonna kind of hide the lights a bit, and it's also gonna hide the beams a little bit, not a lot. You can still see the beams, but at least it's gonna protect that back wall from any fecal matter that the birds decide to toss as they fly back and forth, and that's something that happens in the garage. It's also not gonna allow any seeds or anything to get behind on these little ledges where the wood meets. It's just gonna hit this, it's all gonna go down to the bottom, and then I can go ahead and sweep. So now what we have to do is cut all the edges at the bottom and the edges on the side so that it looks nice and crisp. Then we can move over to the next side and get this wall done as well. Once both of these are completely covered, like this one over here, I'm gonna start moving cages outside, and I'm gonna start pressure washing some of the cages out there, and I'll start showing you guys exactly how it is that I plan on mounting them on this bracket that I put on the wall here. Getting ready to pressure wash all of these cages here. I've been slowly pulling them out of the garage, and I'm starting to bring them into the new aviary in there. Don't mind any of the mess out here. I gotta pick all this stuff up later on in the day. Hopefully I can get a lot of this finished, but let me show you some of the progress that we've been making in here. So it's a little bit messy in here right now, but we've been transferring some of the birds in here so that we're able to start pressure washing the cages. As you can see, I've been putting them inside of these holding cages in here. And I've already started mounting the majority of the ones that are already pressure washed and clean on the wall right here. So it's gonna be 4 in a row going upwards. And then I believe long ways, that way there's about 14 cages. So I'm about halfway. I still have all of this section right here that I have to fill out. But little by little, we're getting it done. Sorry I haven't been filming all of the progress or all of the stuff that I've been doing, but it's very hard to film what I've been doing and at the same time try to keep a fast pace because I am backed up. So I'm trying to get this done as fast as I can before the wife pops, since they changed the due date now on the baby is going to be the middle of October. And right now we're sitting at the beginning of October. We're October 1st, October 2nd. So I literally have about 15 days or less to get all this done, get all the birds moved out of the inside of the house and out here. So let's get hustling and let's finish this as fast as we can. All right, guys, well, this is going to be the end for this video. As you can see, got the majority of all the cages pressure washed and they're already hanging up on the wall. It is extremely bright in here and it is very difficult to record because for some reason the phone keeps wanting to compensate because of how bright the lights are, and it kind of dims down the footage. But if you were here in person, you can actually look at the birds inside of each cage and you're able to really appreciate their color. So it is something that I got to try to fix with the settings on the phone and on the camera so it doesn't do this. As you can see, they're already making a mess in here, so I guess these white tiles weren't the best of option for an aviary, but I got them on a good deal, so it is what it is. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. Like always, still have to fill this side up with cages, but eventually I'll get that done in the next video, so make sure to tune in next time. Like always, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will see each other in the next video.